We rejoin Malcolm as he is being questioned by the large leader of the goblins. He convinces the creature that he is an ally to them. Shortly after, he tries to escape the goblins, but is recaptured, but tries again and succeeds. He decides to hire mercenaries to wipe out the goblins, and so he can retrieve his spellbook. He finds a pair and sets out for vengeance. But his retaliation does not go to plan, and after one mercenary is wounded and the other is off scouting, Malcolm is attacked by a solitary goblin. Finally, Death, whom he had cheated several times before, claims him. And so the next challenger steps forward, and we meet Verissa, a cleric of Bellum, god of war. How will she fare when she is dicing with death?
Hello, everybody, and finally, welcome back to Dicing with Death after what seems to be I don't even know how long it's been, but it's been too long.
Way too long.
Way too long. With me, I have Ryan, middle name redacted, Huffschmid.
Why has my middle name been redacted?
Ryan Dean
Hobgoblin?
Huffschmid.
Oh.
Yeah, because it's
Hobgoblin! Hobgoblin!
oh, well, I don't.
You get to choose your own middle name on the internet, don't you?
You do. Ryan Dean Hobgoblin.
Oh,
Huffschmid.
God,
I almost said Erickson there.
You haven't been streaming enough lately. You're just butchering this intro.
I think this is very well done intro. Thank you very much. It's beautiful. There's
Thanks
flowers and roses.
to Layla and crew. We butchered our end of the intro.
Yeah, well, her intro is always perfect. You know, they always do such a wonderful job with those. So I would say, what have you been up to? But I think we know the answer. Science, stuff, whatever.
Science.
Science.
Yep, the usual. My real life's boring. Let's play make believe.
Awesome.
Unless you have any updates. Have you been streaming the last few days?
I streamed a bunch of Angband yesterday and today.
Okay,
That was fun.
so chat should be familiar with your goings on.
Mm-hmm. They know what's going on. They don't care. Yeah. So who's your character? Verissa, right?
Verissa, yes.
Lady Verissa.
The
Are you actually a lady?
Bellum. I am female.
But are you a lady?
Probably more the rough and tumble type, but we'll see. We'll see. You can only know your character so much based on the character sheet. You sort of got to dig in to find out who they are.
Mm-hmm. Do you want to tell us anything about your backstory, about your history, who you are, where you come from, what you believe in, what you use for weapons and armor?
Yeah, let's do that. So, I guess I don't know, play DM for a bit until, because apparently Neil forgot everything. We're starting on the northern shores of the Shimmerstone Lake in the small village of Hamlet. You can search for that if you're looking on the map. Hamlet is a small town nestled in the forest on the northern shores of this lake, probably a small fishing village, I would imagine.
Mm-hmm.
Verissa grew up in this town, working class family. Thinking after I sorted teenage years, was enrolled or assigned to the local church by her parents, which is probably there's probably one church in the town dedicated to all the gods. And I was probably given a pretty typical education in the church, to pray to Martha for mercy and to stare for justice in the world. But I'm thinking at some point along the way, maybe I uncovered some scriptures in the back room of the church or something like that, detailing some of the the philosophies of the other gods. And I became quite enamored, probably with the particular prophecy, for foretelling of great upheaval in the world and a change in the status quo. And leading this upheaval will be Bellum, the Lord of War. Not necessarily the leader of the New World Order, but probably the bringer of change, at least as I see it.
Yeah.
So these dangerous ideas took seed in my impressionable young brain. How old am I? I guess we're saying I'm 22. So I think where we're picking up is I decided to take action. I procured church funds, bought myself a suit of armor and a warhammer and a shield. Commissioned this in secret from the blacksmith, so that I can, more actively participate in becoming upheaval. And I think we're going to start where this has just been discovered, or the priest is asking questions about where this money went. So I've been caught. So I think say at dawn, I'm waking up before everyone else, strapping on my splint mail, and heading out of town while the small village of Hamlet sleeps.
Okay. You set out northward at dawn. You see a couple of campfires being made, a little bit of smoke starting to rise from various chimneys as people stretch and wake up but still are in bed. And you make it out of town before you see even a single soul. Well, except for, there's a couple of farmers who are already out in their fields way before you. Farmers always getting up early, always going to bed early, whatever. And you proceed out on the road. It's a nice, crisp... Did we say what time of year it was?
We did not.
A nice, crisp spring morning. A little bit on the chilly side, but if anything, it kind of invigorates you and makes you excited for your trek. To the north is the town of Trendle, and along the way you follow the Trensgar River. No relation.
Really? Threndel and Trensgar. Okay.
Yes, Threndel. My eyes are not what they used to be. Old man Neil.
Let me interrupt for just a quick second to say that I will memorize or have prayed for before leaving a Cure Light Wounds and a Sanctuary spell.
Okay, excellent. You set out along the road, and the first 5 or 6 hours of your day are pretty uneventful. You're just walking along, and
so I probably set out in full armor, helm and everything.
Right.
So I'm probably looking pretty androgynous walking down the street, just like it's probably peculiar to see a fully armored warrior marching down the road, but
it most definitely is.
And I'm quite tall, actually.
How tall are you?
5'9".
Okay.
Quite tall for a lady. So
you're this big creature walking down this road. Threndel's not that far away. It's about an 8-hour walk. If you stop for lunch, 9 hours. But it's easily doable in a day, unless it's like the dead of winter. So you set out from Hamlet. First 5 or 6 hours goes fine. You sit down for lunch, have some whatever snacks that you brought along with you, and continue on.
I have nothing, actually.
All right. You sit down for lunch and drink some water and contemplate, my God, I didn't bring any food.
I do have a water skin. Well, I couldn't really afford much food. I have 1 gold coin left after all is said and done.
Yeah. Anyway, you make for Threndel. And as you approach, maybe an hour out from Threndel, you see a body hung by a rope wrapped around a tree, just kind of dangling in the middle of the road. It has a sign attached to it.
I can read and write, so I will approach this sign and decipher these strange runes.
I need my notebook.
Oh, I never decided on a second language. Should we leave that slot open? Is there any... probably no reason for me to speak anything at this point. I'll just pull a Fenric and leave those empty slots and never get to fill them.
Maybe you will fill them. Maybe you'll last longer. The sign...
Fill all of my spell slots with Sanctuary and just run for my life. All right.
The sign says, "Beware the beleaguered crew."
Beleaguered crew. Does this mean anything to me? Is this like a local group of bandits? I mean,
Not that you
seems-
know of. But it sounds like it, doesn't it?
Does. I'll look up and down the road. Do I see anyone approaching?
Nope. Road seems pretty peaceful. Got some birds chirping. Got some water flowing nearby in the river.
Remove my helm so that I can inspect better, and I'm going to take a look at the corpse. Like, how high up is it hanging?
Ooh, hold on. That actually showed up over there. That's a pain in the ass. The feet are hanging about 3 feet off the ground.
Okay, so I can
So, I mean, you can easily, like,
Oh,
see the body, push the body, but you can't quite reach the neck.
yeah. I'll inspect what I can without doing anything other than like twirling the body. Is the sign like a note or a piece of wood?
The sign is a scrap of animal hide that has a message painted on it in some sort of red ink or red lettering. Could be blood, could be ink, who knows.
Blood usually dries brownish, doesn't it?
It usually dries brown and then green over time.
Green from the mold or something.
I don't know why,
Um,
but when I leave blood on garments for a very long time, they turn green.
And
My
this note
blood
is
that's
like
turning green.
tied to the
Yeah.
chest, tied to the.
It's
foot?
just got it's like a little bit of twine that goes through the top of it, and it just wraps around the person's neck and hangs down. The person hanging is a male, probably 25 years of age. Give me a perception check if you want to notice any more details about
Yeah.
them.
First roll of this character. Let's get. Oh, my perception's not good. Why did I wait? I chose these stats. Why is my perception so shitty? What was I thinking?
16.
16. Nope. It's a body.
Yeah, it's a body.
It's hanging.
It's a person. Looks fairly fresh. I mean, you know, if you knew who the person was, you'd be able to recognize him. It's not been rotted at all. It's definitely, you know, a fairly recent kill.
So then it says, "Beware the beleaguered men." Or
Beleaguered crew. Men sounds better. Beware the beleaguered men. You misread it in the blinding light. Beleaguered men. Way better.
all right.
Crew is such a stupid term.
Okay. Unless I spend a minute looking at the body. If that's all that unless I notice anything else interesting.
Is there anything in particular you
continue.
would like to know about it?
For like distinguish like signs of trauma, like was it killed by hanging or does it look like he was in a fight before?
You see no blood on the corpse.
Mhm.
Dressed in
Take a look at his hands.
fairly
look like-
rough, well calloused.
Mm-hmm.
Clothes would be that of a farmer or a peasant of sorts.
Okay. I don't know. I'm not very perceptive. I think I've gathered all I can here. I'm interested, but not much more to do. So I will leave the corpse hanging where it's hanging and continue walking north.
Okay.
I will return my helm to my head and
Okay.
continue clanking along.
You keep clanking along, and about a half hour down the road, you can finally see Threndel off in the distance. Maybe not the town proper, but you see a couple of farms. You see the woods thinning out, and you know there's people about. On the way towards you is a wagon being pulled by 2 oxen, and a man in blue robes with a pointy, like a sharp, pointy blue hat sitting on his head. It's got a wide brim that like sags down all the way around him. His head is like slightly tilted forward, almost if he's maybe asleep in the front. And the wagon that he's pulling is covered in white canvas. You cannot see into it, but it seems to be your fairly standard Oregon Trail-esque wagon.
I will stand aside to let the wagon pass, and as it does so, I will address the man, probably deepening my voice, overcompensate. It seems a little late for you to be just hitting the road.
There's no reply.
Oh, is he dead? Is like the horse is it?
The
Oh.
oxen are just trotting along the road.
I'll try and get a look at the guy as they're passing.
His eyes are
maybe
closed
back,
and he's
maybe
drooling.
backtrack with the wagon a little bit.
I mean, like you can tilt your head to look underneath his
Yeah.
brim, and his eyes are closed, and you see like drool coming from his mouth.
So he's alive.
Yeah, he's alive. It just looks like he's passed out. Looks like totally asleep.
Without stopping the wagon, can I, like how quick are the oxen moving? Like, can I like walk alongside it for a minute or so and take
Yeah.
a peek in the back?
Very easily.
Yeah.
So you like
take-
walk along the back and pull the curtains and look inside.
Sure. Yeah.
It looks like it is some sort of market place that's been set up in here, or maybe it's like a traveling. Maybe he like goes around selling stuff because there's all sorts of things that are labeled, and there's like a table that's folded up, and there's like tools for building. There's like some poles and some tarps and some other things. It looks like he's a town to town merchant, a traveling merchant. There are a lot of. Go ahead.
I'm pretty famished, so if I see food, I will probably grab it.
You do see food. You see a jar of mushrooms.
Is there anything else?
There are various flasks and beakers filled with different colored fluids.
I'll probably sit on the back of the wagon while I start going through the guy's shit. Backtrack a little bit.
Okay. What other food items would you see in there? You see a couple of live chickens that seem to be happy, just be chilling there, and one cat. It's a dark cat, not black, but almost like a midnight blue fur-colored cat that has a golden collar with a little bell.
I'm gonna
And
get my shit kicked by some wizard here, aren't I? Okay. I'm gonna. Do I see flint and steel?
not easily within sight, but there's lots of like drawers and stuff back here, drawers and boxes.
I don't think I want to like be raiding the shit. Okay, so if I see anything that catches my attention, let me know. But I'm probably just gonna grab a chicken and hop off the back of the wagon.
Okay, the chickens are all the way in the back. I guess the front of the cart, because you're in the back of the cart. So you're going to have to crawl in to get them, but it's not a problem. You can easily get them.
Okay.
All right. You crawl in, grab a chicken. It goes,
Yeah.
and as you
Try and
start to
shut
get
it.
out, you hear a, shut up in there. And you see a man like poke his head back through the curtains and see you. Like you look over your shoulder and you got a chicken under one arm and you're,
Fully armored.
Yeah. he goes, stop, thief, stop. And he, throws the curtain shut and hops off his side of the.
I'm gonna go to like jump off the back with the chicken.
Okay. You jump off the back with the chicken. You hear his feet hit the ground by the side of the cart. What do you do?
I think I'll stand my ground, chicken in hand.
All right. He comes around the back of the cart
Does
and
he
goes.
stop the cart? Or
Yeah,
stop the
he's
oxen?
jumped off the cart. The oxen have stopped. He comes around the back and goes, "What? Put that chicken down. That's mine."
I'm quite famished, sir. Perhaps we can make an arrangement.
He squints his eyes. You want to buy my chicken? You want to buy my hen? She doesn't lay golden eggs, She's an ordinary hen.
If you have any other food, perhaps.
Were you just going to take that stuff?
I was going to reappropriate it.
I think that's a
You don't
fanciful
seem-
way of saying stealing. And then his eyes kind of move around, and it's almost as if he didn't realize you were wearing armor and had weapons. And he takes like a half step back, or not even a step back, but like shifts his weight to his back foot. And goes, but I could be amenable to sharing a late lunch with a fellow traveler. Which way did you say you were headed on this road?
I was headed north. I
Ah, you must have just come from Hamlet then.
I nod.
How about I share a meal with you if you tell me what you know about Hamlet?
Sounds fair.
Okay.
I set the chicken back in the cart. And I remove my helm and shake loose long, straight black hair.
It wafts in the breeze majestically. He moves the oxen and the cart off to the side of the road, which the road's not very big. I mean, it's literally like room for one cart to go down. You could not have crossing traffic. You'd have to like pull one cart here and then move with the other cart here, and it would be a pain in the ass. But he moves it as far to the side as he can, and starts to set up a little fire. And he says, "So tell me about Hamlet. What should I expect from that place?"
You're a traveling merchant?
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't expect much. Small town. A little off the grid, so maybe you'll find some sales, but
But it is on Shimmerstone Lake, right? Right up to it.
yep, right on the shores.
Excellent. Good. Ah.
Would-
And you there, I wouldn't expect many fine warriors coming from Hamlet. What sort of... I take it you're a mercenary, hired to do some nasty deeds down there?
Nasty deeds.
Well,
I don't
what
know
else
if
do
I'd say
mercenaries do? Quiet
No,
fellow.
no mercenary.
Oh.
I serve a higher cause.
Oh, I see. You're one of
Oh,
them clerical types. One of them crusaders for justice.
Yes, justice. Would I have a holy symbol to Bellum or like a generic holy symbol?
You would have a Bellum holy symbol.
Where would I have? I would have had to like make that myself or like
Mhm.
acquire it
It would be-
surreptitiously.
I mean, you might not have a good enough one. Bellum's holy symbol are usually made out of iron, and they are either spears or bows in shape. So it would be like a small iron spear attached to a necklace. Would be like an amulet of Bellum.
Okay.
So you could have had a wooden one or something, which would be a substandard holy symbol.
Game terms, does that even mean anything?
In game terms, if you keep it forever, your god's going to get pissed and stop granting you spells, but it'll work temporarily. As long as, it's an intern
Sure.
holy symbol. So lunch goes fairly well. He asks you a bunch of questions about the town. Give me an intelligence check. Oh, and yes?
Yeah.
What do you do? Do you answer them truthfully?
Yes, I was going to say I exchange whatever information I have, probably disdainfully, like as in I don't have much nice to say about Hamlet.
Mm-hmm.
Podunk little town that is in need of a good fire. D20 plus. I'm not sure what I was thinking with my stats. I think I may have just rolled them straight down the line.
I
That
think
would
that's probably
explain
what
it.
it was.
28 on my in check.
You notice that his questions all seem to harbor in and around Shimmerstone Lake. He's talking about, fishing this, harbor, like piers that, what sort of, what the population does, how many people are fishermen. Oh, do you spend a lot of time out on the water? There's just something. He seems to be caring more about the lake and Hamlet's access to the lake than he does about anything else.
Yeah, I was gathering that much. I think I'll call him on it. Say, so it seems like you are quite interested in Shimmerstone Lake. What is it?
No. I'm a traveling merchant heading to Hamlet. Lake is a mere curiosity. You said the town was not. There was nothing to expect of the town. He says, stroking his cat. No. The lake is of No,
Is there anything I would know about the lake from growing up
it's
on its
named
shores?
after a shimmering stone that is said to reside at the middle of the lake.
Have I ever seen this
No,
stone?
it's underwater. There's some legend about the shimmering stone that fell from the sky that, created the lake.
I look the guy up and down suspiciously. He looks like a wizard, but have I seen any like signs that he's got like a spell book or anything laying around or
You
on
don't
his
see a
waist?
spell book. You don't see any component pouches on his waist. He's definitely dressed like a wizard.
Yeah, he's got that freaky cat. I would like to buy. I'll ask him if he has any mirrors in his supplies.
Yes, I do. He gets up and puts the cat on the ground and shuffles over to his wagon and starts ruffling through things while he idly chats about, whatever. While he's doing this, the cat kind of takes its time and very cat-like walks over to you and starts like nuzzling itself up against your leg, and then like crawls onto you and like puts one paw on your lap and then puts another paw on your lap and starts like
More of a
nuzzling your
dog
knee.
person. I think I'm like trying to shove the cat off, which probably only incesses it more. So it just
Yeah.
thinks that I'm trying to pet it instead of push it away. So awkward little exchange with the cat. Does it do anything suspicious or just cat things?
It just does cat things. It does the typical, the more attention you want from it, the less it gives you, but the less attention you want, the more it gives you. So as you're like trying to throw it away, it's just like, no, let me play, let me play. Eventually, the man comes back. Oh, and he introduces himself as Pringle.
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 Oh, I would also like to ask him about the beleaguered men.
Oh,
I think this would have come up in conversation at some
Yeah,
point.
it comes up in
He was
conversation.
asking about the road. Noticed said there was a man hanging from a tree just 30 minutes up the road.
beleaguered men.
Yeah.
I think it's been a group of bandits around here that been robbing people on the road left and right. It's strange, just sad to hear that they've killed a person. It might be their first, might not be. I
Oh,
doubt
you
it
think
is,
this
but
was? Oh, I assumed that it was a beleaguered man who was hanging, but your explanation makes much more sense.
yes, yes. That's a shame. It's a real shame. Anyway, eventually lunch finished. Oh no, he gets the mirror, and
Well, I mean, it's
he-
got to be like late afternoon, isn't it? I've been
Yeah.
on the road for like 6+ hours.
Well, no, it's not late afternoon because you got up at like
Okay,
dawn,
you're right.
so it's 6. So it's a
Yeah.
little afternoon. He'll easily make it to Hamlet before nightfall. Maybe around nightfall, but he'll get there in time. He comes back with the mirror and offers. It's a piece of silver about yay big that's been just polished to a finish. Because
So I got the one I needed as a spell component for Sanctuary, apparently. And a small silver mirror. Is that consumed in the casting? I guess it must be, huh?
does it
It's
say?
going to be expensive. Usually they are, unless...
Yeah. If it doesn't say otherwise, then it is consumed in the casting. He holds it up for you and goes, ah, yes. Mirrors, they're a popular thing. This one here goes for 30 silver coins. Great for a maiden such as yourself to gaze upon herself.
Do you have any smaller? Or is this the only mirror you have?
He frowns, heads back to the cart, starts rummaging around again, and comes back with a very, very small mirror. It looks like a silver coin that has been flattened and then polished. And you can see a reflection, but it's not quite as clear. It's a little bit more hazy.
If I'm just going to be offering it up to the gods, I don't...
He looks at this one and goes, we have this one too. Sells for 10 silver.
That's just what I have. And I exchange a gold coin for a silver coin. And one casting of Sanctuary.
Okay. He takes it, puts it, slips it in his belt, like just in between his belt and his body, and sits down. If there's anything else you'd like to ask him now, go for it. Otherwise,
I'll ask him if he knows where the beleaguered men reside. Just in the woods. off the
well,
path
no one
here?
knows where their hideout is, but it's definitely out of town, unless they're townsfolk that only rob people on the road. They seem to operate around Ritule, kind of robbing the things around there. To be honest, this is the first time I've heard of them marking anything outside of the city, or outside of the towns directly next to Ritule. You know,
I nod. I say I've spent some time in Hamlet and never heard of them, so they must be expanding their operations.
I suppose so. Dark days indeed. Well, come here, Safi, he says, and picks up the cat. After you guys have finished food, puts the cat in the back of the wagon, and says, "It's been nice meeting you. What did you say your name was again?"
Verissa.
Nice meeting you, Miss Farissa. Take care.
Lady Verissa.
Excuse me, I didn't realize it was the presence of nobility. He bows very deeply.
I thank you for the lunch. May your soul be spared. And I put an awkward hand on his shoulder or something and turn to walk away.
Yeah.
I hope you find what you're looking for in the lake.
Nonsense!
I continue walking north to Thrundle.
Okay.
I am a little interested in the lake now myself, but I don't think I want to be heading back to Hamlet.
Okay. You continue on the way. This entire time you've been able to kind of like see the distant farms, and now you start to approach into the farmlands and see the farmers out there. There's corn here, cabbage there, cows over here. And you run into a whole flock of sheep as a shepherd walks with them back into Threndel proper. The sheep fart, and it smells terrible. But you make it into Threndel, wool and all. Threndel is a bit of a bustling town right about now. It's on the smaller side, a few hundred people, maybe 400 total, but it makes up for its lack of population with its activity. And they seem to be very busy. Everyone's running to and fro. There's a blacksmith who's pounding away on a couple of things with two apprentices, or maybe children apprentices, who knows, standing by looking eagerly at him. There's an innkeeper who's tossing out some old ale onto the street and starts yelling out to people that the inn is open. There's a town crier reading the most recent message from the local mayor, and you see a very fine nobleman dressed in reds and golds trotting down the street on his horse with a bodyguard behind him on a horse as well. The bodyguard is wearing plate mail, although the rich nobleman is wearing just like fine clothing with no weapons or armor to be seen.
Take it all in. I'm probably going to look for more information on these beleaguered men, so I'll approach the inn.
Okay. You approach the inn as the innkeeper's shouting, and he sees you come up and goes, "Ah, excellent! Traveling warrior! We'd love your type here. Come on in, come on in." He waves you in, quickly hurries behind the bar and says, "What can I get for you?"
I say I'm afraid nothing. I have no coin to exchange for any of your drink or food. I merely come for information.
Oh.
And to exchange information. I guess I'll remove my helm. And on the road just south of here, I came across a hanged man. Apparently the work of the beleaguered men. I've never heard of this band of outlaws, but perhaps you know more?
Yeah, they tend to operate a little bit to the southwest.
Apparently they grow bolder.
Apparently so. They tend to rob people. I haven't heard of them killing anyone, but if you see You said you saw a body?
I know.
Well, guess they've made their kills. Yeah, they're just local brigands. Call themselves the Beleaguered Men because they were previous soldiers who fell upon hard times after the war, after some battle. I guess they were mercenaries, who knows. Whatever excuse they may have made, they make their living now robbing people at sword point.
Where you said they operate in Southwest?
Southwest, usually. We've never seen or heard any of them about them in town or to the north.
Just on the road between here and Ratul?
Yeah, and on the
They-
other side of Ratul as well, between Ratul and Lilithma.
Who names these towns?
I don't know, some jackass.
All right. Thank you for your time. I nod and
Okay. Give me a...
walk away.
What is your perception score?
8.
8. Okay. You notice as you are walking out of the bar, there is a man sitting just inside the door at like the very first table. He's got a brown traveling cloak with the hood down. He's got kind of muddy brown hair, and he's wearing leather armor. Who's taking a particularly keen interest in you and your conversation. Notice
Okay.
at his side he's got a dagger, but no blade, no other.
You said he's right by the door?
Right by the door. He
So I
must have
guess
come in
I'm-
after you walked in.
As I'm walking by the door, I'll turn to look at him. And what are you looking at?
He gives you a glare and kind of goes, nothing. And then immediately like looks away down towards where he should have food or drink, but there's none.
I've stopped like right in front. I mean, so I'm still just sort of like towering over him, helm under one arm, just staring down.
When you don't leave after he looks away, he looks
I
back
get-
and stands up. He comes up almost as tall as you, maybe like an inch shorter than you, and goes,
Yeah,
"You got a
I've probably
problem?"
got boots to go with my armor, so I'm probably a little closer to 5'10", 5'11" in all my gear.
You got a problem here?
Just you.
You want to take this outside?
Do you? I sort of look
You're in
him up
heavy
and down.
armor, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm wearing splint mail, so
Yeah, let's do that.
I think it would be disrespectful for me to bloody a poor fool such as yourself. And I hang around for another awkward second or two and move towards the door.
Okay.
I try not to expose my back, like I sort of sidestep through the door so I don't expose like my back to him if I can help it. Just sort of like a flank as I sort of push the door open and step out into the waning sunlight.
You see him kind of move out from behind the table, but he doesn't follow you outside. Instead, he also kind of like sidesteps, backwalks, facing you, but towards the other end of the tavern.
I assume this was like the table was just by the door, right?
Yeah,
so I
it
was
was
like
just by
a
the
couple of feet, and I was out of the building, so I probably don't see much of this. Just see him shifting. I shut the door behind me, but I will wait probably 15 feet outside of the door in case he does decide to follow.
Nope, he does not
Maybe-
decide to follow.
Okay. Well, no money, nowhere to go, so I think I'm just going to start heading southwest along the road. Maybe I'll hang out in the town and rest my feet for a little bit. And, like loosen my armor. I won't take it off, but just like undo some of the straps and stretch.
Which way out of town would you like to go?
Southwest towards Ratul and the beleaguered men. Yeah, so I'll hang out if there's like a fountain square or something like that in Threndel.
Oh, I thought you were going to be outside of town.
I will rest in town for probably
Oh, okay.
a few minutes. I mean,
Yeah, there's a town square. It has it's not a fountain, but it's like a spring that comes, or some water source is piped in somehow, and then it like comes out of a what do you call them? A cherub? Like those little fat babies?
Yeah,
Yeah.
cherub.
A cherub. And just kind of like the cherub's like puking the water out into this little pool. I guess you could call it a fountain, but it's like a side fountain.
Okay. Yeah, so I'll rest by this fountain, eye the cherub disdainfully. Yeah. And
Okay.
once I'm feeling refreshed and ready to hit the road again, I will head southwest from Threndel.
Okay. As you're waiting around in the town square, you see that same guy from the tavern. I mean, this must be 5 minutes after you've walked out of the tavern. Like, you've just sat down and started to rest. You see him coming through the town square from a slightly different angle and heading
As
towards
soon as
the
I spot him,
southwest
I'll
road.
start fixing my armor. Okay, but he's not coming towards me. He's
No.
heading southwest.
Yeah, he immediately takes the southwest road.
Perfect. That's just where I'm headed. And I will follow behind him, I guess.
How far do you follow?
A little ways. Maybe give him a minute. So
A minute behind him.
I'll be whatever that winds up being, a couple hundred yards.
120 yards. At movement rate 12.
Mhm.
No.
And I clearly did some clever accounting because I have exactly 35 pounds of equipment.
Not with this mirror that weighs 1 pound. I'm kidding. Yeah, so you head southwest along the road. You see the guy, he exits town, and I mean, town's not that big, it's only like a block or two. And as he's walking down the road, he casts like a glance behind him and spots you.
I've
does
got my
like a-
helm back on at this point.
And then he turns back to walking down the road and breaks into a run
Away from me or towards
away
me?
from you.
I'll pause for a second to decide my action and then jog after him.
Okay. So you just see him.
If he's going a full-out sprint, I probably won't like sprint to keep up with him. But I'll double my movement and jog for a little ways and see what happens.
Yeah,
I
he's,
try to make it look casual. I mean, I'm following him, but I don't know. Anyway,
Yeah, there's not a lot of people in heavy armor and helms
No,
running
yes.
around town. So you,
This is still in town.
yeah, this is still in town.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like at the very edge of town. So he breaks into it like a dead run, and he just books it as fast
I
as he
jog after him for a bit and try and keep him in sight if I can. If he's going to sprint away, though, I don't think I'm going to be able to
can.
pursue,
He
or at least don't care enough to pursue. Does he run out of town, or does he?
runs out of
leave
town,
generally?
down the road.
Then I guess I'm heading the same direction as him.
Mm-hmm.
He'll probably be moving faster than me for a short bit, but eventually he's got to get tired.
Yeah. So you're jogging, he's running. Math in head.
I probably only jog for a few minutes. If I lose sight of him, I'll slow down and just continue heading southwest out of town. I'm imagining he's interested in what I was saying, so he's probably either works for the beleaguered men or is planning on selling this information to them.
Clever
So
ideas.
I'll bump into him eventually. So I'll jog for a few minutes, and then if I lose sight of him in the trees or
You-
whatever, I'll slow down.
Yeah, I mean, eventually you lose sight of him because the road is a little bit windy here and there. It's not quite a dead shot.
Are we out of Thrundle at this point?
Yeah, you're out of the town proper at this point. You are still within the territory of some of the farmland, though. But it's getting pretty sparse, and you suspect in the next 5 minutes you will be out of, completely out of the territory. The road's a little bit muddy here. Maybe it rained, maybe it's just kind of lowland, and the water table's a little higher here. Who knows? But as you curve around these bends and eventually pull yourself way outside of the town, you spot the same guy on the side of the road talking to a man in leather armor with a bow slung over his shoulder.
How far away from me are they?
30 yards.
I'm going to slip into the trees off the path.
Okay. You take cover behind
out
a
of sight.
tree.
So I'm going to continue moving towards them, but I'm like circle through the trees, losing sight of them, and then try and cut towards them. So that they may hear me clanging before I reach them, but if all goes according to plan, I would pop out of the trees into the road right next to them.
Okay, so if the path out of town is like this, that's a terrible road. We're just going to pretend that road was never drawn. All right, so you're coming out of town. It's a slightly windy road, and then like goes around here on this boulder, then keeps going down like this. Got like a big rock right here. And there's trees all over the place and bushes, so you can't. There's no like line of sight from here to here. But as you come around to this point, you see them right here. What distance is that? That's 32 feet. So consider these yards instead of feet.
Okay. So I think I'll back around the boulder and sort of pop out the road there.
Okay. So you curve around the boulder, pop around out there, going through the woods. I need my dice, which are downstairs, so give me just one moment.
Sure. How's it going, chat? I give you 20 seconds to respond, by which point Neil will return. So we have no time to plan our uprising against him. Bummer. I can talk about my plans. We'll see what these beleaguered men are about, but depending on how I like their philosophy, I will either join them or convince them to join me or murder them for free XP. Well, work for the XP. Nope. Nothing to say, guys. Delay. Oh no, he's back. Shh.
Okay. So as you curve around to head towards them, the man with the bow over his shoulder spots you and turns to face you.
Wait. So like before I've even dropped behind the boulder?
No. You're behind the boulder. Like as you're coming around.
Okay, coming around through the woods. All right.
Yeah. You must like have made some noise or something because he sharply turns his head.
Sorry. Can I retcon that I put my shield on while I meant to declare that.
You've got your shield.
My hammer is still like on my back or whatever, so it would need to be drawn. But
probably hanging at
shield
your
is on
waist
my arm.
actually.
Yeah.
More easily accessible. He turns to see you and immediately reaches to grab an arrow out of the quiver on the side.
I'm pretty close to, so I'll close so that it would be. I mean, I think I'm already within point blank, right, where it gets penalties, or how does that work in second edition?
There's no point blank for bows.
Okay, that's just if you're specialized in bows, you get a bonus within 30 yards.
30 feet, yeah.
Okay, but it's only people that are adjacent that you can't shoot at. Or
Right. Yeah, melee range.
All right, so as I'm approaching, I'll be like, I'll save the trouble of having him give the full description as I strut towards them.
The guy notches an arrow in his bow and doesn't aim it at you, but like clearly draws it halfway and points it towards the ground. And the other man goes, yeah, that's her. And the man in leather armor says, well, you might have walked into something that's a little out of your pay grade, missy.
You've said he's just in leather armor?
Mm-hmm.
I'll continue stepping towards him casually. Does he like get trigger happy and like raise the arrow, or?
Yeah, he starts to raise it. I mean, once you hit 30 feet from him, because you're walking towards him, you guys are chatting, and as you get 30 feet, he raises the arrow and points it straight at you. Mm-hmm. Do you stop at that point?
Sure. I saw your work south of Threndel.
You want to be another one? We'll let you go if you just leave your precious little bits of armor and whatever coin you've got on you.
Well, now you've backed yourself into a corner.
I think you're mistaken. And he gives a whistle, and you see another man on the other side of the road step out from behind a tree with a bow as well.
Mm-hmm.
He has an arrow notched, and he points it at you. So now you've got two archers and this dude with the dagger.
Mm-hmm.
Now that armor's thick and heavy, and let's be honest, if it came down to toe-to-toe, you might be able to take one of us, but you're definitely going to end up like that hanging man. So why don't you save your life and ours? Just put your weapons down, take off that armor, and maybe give us some playtime, you and me.
And here I thought perhaps we could become friends.
Now,
So
Mace
what is
on the
that
ground.
hanged man about? What's the message you're trying to send?
I'll tell you while you take your equipment off.
Now, I don't like your tone. If you don't start speaking more respectfully to a lady like myself, I may have to reprimand you.
Well, you want to know what that person's about? That's supposed to be a warning, and apparently it wasn't a very good warning to people like you not to mess with people like us. I think maybe we should put up another warning. This time, I'm thinking maybe a woman. Let's give her some heavy armor and stick her full of arrows. Maybe that'll get the real picture across.
I'm gonna roll initiative at this point.
It's probably a good thing just to have rolled.
What's my hammer like? Pretty quick, actually. Nothing he said sounded too offensive. He was just basically threatening to kill me and hang me.
Yeah, it's not that big of a deal.
Sort of waiting for an excuse to bash his teeth out, but
Your initiative is 9.
yeah. But I don't think I'm charging in there yet. I guess let's just keep that on hold unless if they do something, I'll obviously draw my hammer and fight back. But for now, I'm content to keep talking. You may need to rethink your expansion strategy. If this is your approach to recruitment, you're missing the mark.
Recruitment? Wait, are you offering to join up with us?
I was considering it, but to be honest, I've found you quite rude and distasteful. Now, I'm sure your boss will have some harsh words when he hears the frankly disgusting things you've said to me.
If you can't stomach a few words here and there, I don't think you've got what it takes to be a beleaguered man. And I'm not talking about what ain't swinging between your legs.
Is his bow is still raised?
Mm-hmm.
Both bows still raised?
Both bows still raised. The man with the dagger is just standing there nervously.
Mm-hmm. So how about those threats? You still trying to rob me? Or are we talking?
I think we're talking, but I don't trust you.
Good, and I don't trust you. I saw your message and I came here to figure out what you're about.
Well, we're about getting what's ours, because what's ours hasn't been given to us properly, not like we deserved.
So I'll give you that. You certainly deserve more than the lot you've been given in life, or at least the chance to attempt to take it. But I think you were meant to inherit far more than a few silver coins from starving farmers.
What do you got in mind?
Bigger fish. Step out of the woods. The real money is not on these roads.
Where is it?
It's in the towns, in their chests, in their coifers.
Now, we may be brigands, and we may from time to time be murderers, but we're not the sort of people to go kill an innocent townsfolk while they sleep in their beds.
Just while they're out walking the streets, the roads.
You got it all wrong. We could easily knock over Threndel, no problem. But you knock over Threndel, you attract a lot of attention. You get a couple people on the roads, It's not too much of a problem. People come looking for you, you hide in the forest. It's about surviving. You can't spend money if you're dead. So what do you have to offer us? If we accept you into our ranks.
I didn't say I was applying to join your ranks quite yet, but I may be interested in swinging my hammer alongside you for a time to figure out what you're about.
I told you what we're about. We're about getting what's ours.
Then let's get what's ours.
The guy with the dagger goes, I don't like it. She was talking to that innkeeper like she was too good for this. She's not going to join us. This is some sort of trick. And the archer, the first archer that you were talking to, goes, shut up, dude. You don't know what you're talking about. So what do you want to know?
I think that the best way to get to know someone is in the heat of battle.
So you want to knock someone over with us here?
I'm willing to give it a try.
All right. Why don't you go there, across the road? Brandon, you come over here. And next person that rolls through this place, man, woman, or child, you stop them on the road, you take what they've got, and we'll see how it goes. You do a good job, work with us, we may have a place for you.
The next person.
Next person.
Shouldn't we hit someone we know has money?
Maybe, maybe not. I mean, this is your initiation. This is your trial run. I don't particularly care if you get any money. I just want to see if you actually have what it takes to walk the walk, and not just talk the talk.
I start walking down the road where he directed.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if
Go ahead.
I'm not sure if I will, just like man, woman, or child. I'm not sure if I'm just going to murder some kid walking down the street to be initiated into this group of bandits that I don't even necessarily. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Okay. So the other archer from the other side of the road, named Brandon, comes over to this side, and they put themselves a good distance from you. They keep their arrows notched, but they relax their bows, and they take up positions behind, not behind the rock. They basically go back here, some ways into the woods. There seems to be a spot where, looking over there, it looks like there might have been some other bushes or trees or something, but they've been moved, because they have like a perfect angle on the road from there. Like you can actually see that. What distance is this? 20 yards. Like there's 60 feet with a very good shot that has like a nice wide angle, so you could hit anything that walks along the road from there. And they tuck themselves down between some rocks and a tree. The guy with the dagger is with them as well. So the three of them are all hanging back there, and you are now on the north side of the road.
All right. I'll loosen my hammer from my belt and put it, mallet down into the dirt, and sort of lean against it like a cane.
Okay.
And I guess wait.
All right. Not too much longer passes, maybe 35 minutes, when you see a wagon rolling down the road from Ratul. The E is silent. From Ratul to Threndel. The wagon is covered like the previous one, but the driver at the helm is a woman. She's maybe mid-40s. She has 2 children with her and a babe under one arm. The cart is being pulled by a draft horse, and they're just coming down the road. Did you say you're in the road or in the woods?
I'm in the middle of the road.
Okay.
So standing in the middle of the road, armed and armored,
Okay.
blocking the path.
So, you're like intentionally blocking the road.
Yeah.
All right, so she stops about 30 feet out from you and goes, "You there?"
It's just a woman and her children.
Yeah.
There's no man.
Not that you can see. He might be in the back taking a nap. You there? Why do you block our path?
I, without a word, start strutting towards them, leaning my hammer over my shoulder. Clang, 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 clang.
Stop there! Don't you come any closer now.
I come closer.
Jacob! Jacob! She says. And I mean, you close the distance before them. What do you do? Where do you?
I'm gonna like circle the wagon and see what they have.
All right, so just like walk around to the back.
I mean, so I come straight up the front beside the horse and
Mm-hmm.
and start circling around the back.
Okay. She's calling
in
for this
hand.
guy Jacob as you're getting to the horses. The kids
Mhm.
recoil away from you. You get around to the back and you see a guy who was sleeping in the back of it on some like furs and pillows, rousing and putting his head out the front. So his back is to you. In the
Mhm.
back of the wagon, you see a rack on the left side that has a bunch of different wood carvings on it. And on the other side, you see some. What do you see? You see some sacks. What do you call it? Burlap sacks.
Mhm.
They look like they might be flour or wheat or some sort of grain sacks, maybe beans. Who knows?
All right. So I'll continue. I'll circle around the wagon and come back to the front again.
Okay, you come
And
back to the front again, and this guy has moved his way up to the front and has out in his hand a kind of tattered, rusty short sword. He's waving it at you and goes, "You there? What are you doing? You trying to rob us?"
There won't be any trying. Run for your lives. And time is ticking.
The man looks you up
Yeah.
and down.
Said the others won't be so merciful.
He says, "Matilda, get the kids, head back home. Do it now." And the woman gets up, shuffles off with the kids, and goes, "But darling, what about you?" And he says, "No, just do what I say. Go." And she flees with the kids.
Now, Jacob, think of your children. I'd say you've got about 30 seconds.
He slowly starts to back off the other end of the wagon. Sword still pointed at you, so now the wagon is in between the two of you, and starts to back down the road, keeping. I mean, once he's reestablishes eyesight with you, he continues to watch you as he backs away from the wagon.
I said run. I think the beleaguered men
He sheathes his sword and runs.
have some kind of message. I don't know what it is yet. Their mission statement seems kind of vague at the moment. And he
Yeah,
just runs.
the women and children and man run.
I start unhooking the. Well, there's only one draft horse pulling the wagon.
It's like an old nag. It's pretty broken down.
Mm-hmm.
Seen much better days.
It's a start. I guess I'll start going through, taking a peek at what they have in the back, like poke open one of the sacks with the butt of my hammer.
It is beans in the sack. Sack of beans.
Sack of beans and wood carvings.
Mm-hmm. There's a couple of ducks, a couple of people. There's a bust of the man that you recognize as it's supposed to be a bust of this legendary fighter from 500 years ago who did all these great things.
Do I see any money? And I probably spend like a minute looking through it.
There's a strong box
before
stuck under one of the bags of beans.
I pull it out.
As you get to the strong box, you see the two archers and the man with the dagger come around, and they're standing back looking into the wagon. They go, "Well, you didn't do half bad. Didn't even kill anyone. It's the way we prefer it."
Yeah, they'll send a message for you. Although yeah. Is the strong box locked?
No. You open it up, and it contains on the order of hundreds of copper and scores of silver.
I'll grab a fistful of silver.
Okay. You acquire 30 silver coins.
And proceed to hop off the wagon.
Mhm.
You guys want these beans?
Maybe. It's always good to have extra supplies. And
I leave the rest of the lockbox to them if they so desire.
the first archer comes up and claps you on the shoulder and says, "Well, you've shown your mettle. Now the question is whether or not we want to have you around. Your attitude earlier was a little bit pissy, but I guess
You
everyone
start-
has their moments," he says, elbowing the guy with the dagger.
I think you started the pissing contest, and I start unhitching the horse from the wagon. If they
I
don't,
bet I could
if
piss
they-
farther than you.
I'm not trying to piss farther.
Never mind.
If it comes to that, I'll knock you out and pop a squat and piss right on your face. I start unhitching the horse from the wagon and mount up.
And okay, you mount up. I mean, there's no saddle on the nag. You would just like be sitting on its bareback.
I ride bareback.
Okay,
Rrrr.
not a problem. They go in. They grab a couple of bags and throw them over their shoulders. The man with the dagger takes the strong box, and the first archer says, "Well, my name's Rich. You already heard Brandon's name, and this here is Zed." He says, pointing to the guy with the dagger. And
Rich,
we are
Zed, and what was the third guy?
Rich, Brandon, and Zed.
My name is Verissa, but you may call me Milady.
Yeah, we three are a subsection of the Beleaguered Men. And if you'd like, we'll take you to headquarters, see what the chief thinks. But if he doesn't like you, I'm sure he'll like you in different ways.
Lead on.
All right. And they just kind of head off into the forest on the south side.
I follow behind them on the back of this draft horse.
Great.
And I think that's our first break.
Perfect timing. We'll see you guys in a few minutes on the other side. Take care.